The B.F. Avery and Sons Company presents More Power to You.
Hello? Yes, this is the Henricks home. No, Jack isn't here this evening. Who's calling, please? No, I couldn't say. No, you'll have to talk to Jack about that. I don't know. All right, goodbye.
You sure gave that party a lot of information. Who was it?
Oh, the girl who writes the personal column for the paper was trying to find out if Jack and Betty have set the date for their wedding yet. What could I tell her?
Tell her to mind her own business.
It has been ages since they announced their engagement. I'm beginning to wonder, too.
Well, when Jack and Betty want to get married is their affair.
Yes, I know, John. But I'm worried about that boy. He's been so restless lately. He seems so discontented. I wish you could get him to go ahead and take over that farm next door. He'd have such a nice place of his own to start out on. He could settle down and still be near home.
Mother, I've done everything I can. I've offered to help him pay for it. It's as good an 80 acres as he can get anywhere. But until he gets this tractor idea out of his head...
John.
Yeah?
Did you two get into an argument over tractors again?
Let's forget the whole thing.
John, answer me. Is that the reason why Jack went off without eating his supper? It's not like that boy to walk off, and when he knew we were going to have fried chicken... worried about him. I want to know what happened.
Well, it's the same old story all over again. We were out in the field and...
Whoa, girls. Let's sit this one out.
How you doing, son?
Rotten.
Yeah, what are you belly aching about? We've covered a lot this afternoon.
If we had a tractor, one of us could have done more than both of us have been able to do with these blame mules.
What's all the hurry, Jack? Who wants to do it twice as fast?
This guy, right here. I get so darn tired of following those mules, coaxing them along, hitching them up, unhitching them again, feeding them. Why, if we had a tractor, we could be raising this corn to fatten steers instead of just to feed these darn mules. Dad, farming just doesn't have to be as hard as this anymore. It's old-fashioned. Well, farming this way, we're still living in the horse and buggy days.
Jack, I'll admit we work pretty hard, but I don't think it's ever hurt either of us. But I've told you before, I just can't see that tractor idea of yours. I've never seen one yet that will do a job of work good enough to suit me. And besides, we couldn't afford an outfit like you've been talking about. I think most people have always figured that we do a pretty good job of farming. We've built this farm up to a point where our production per acre is about as good as any farm in the county. And I don't think either of us wants anything unless it'll help us do an even better job than we're doing now. Am I right?
Well, sure, but...
Now, up in the wheat belt, it's a different story entirely. Tractors work out fine. But you know from your Smith Hughes courses at school that we've got to do every job more carefully down here. Plowing, bedding, planting, cultivating, everything. And there's so many more jobs to be done.
I know, Dad, but I've been thinking it over, and I've made up my mind.
Yeah?
If you won't help me so I can start farming the modern way, I'm not going in for farming. I'll try something else. I've made up my mind, Dad. I'm just not going to spend the rest of my life playing nursemaid to a mule.
Now listen, Jack. I've seen other young fellows go in over their heads. I don't want to see you...
Then you won't do it?
I've told you I don't think it's worth that big investment.
Okay, that's the way you feel about it.
Oh, now wait a minute, son. Let's don't be in a hurry about this. And that's what happened. When he finished, he brought up his team and then went off. I haven't seen him since.
John, I just know he intends to leave home. That's what he told Betty.
Betty? When did he see her?
After he left you. He must have gone straight to her. She called me on the phone. Wanted to know what was the matter with Jack. He told her everything was off and he was figuring on going away somewhere. John, we've got to do something. If we let that boy go away, We'll regret it as long as we live.
No, let him go where he wants.
John.
Let him see what it is to work for somebody else. When he finds out it isn't so easy working for some hard-boiled outfit in town, he'll come back where he can be his own boss and manage his own place.
John, are you sure that Jack's all wrong on this tractor idea? I've been living with you pretty long, and you can be pretty stubborn yourself now and then.
I've looked at too many of those tractor outfits, Mother. I don't think that's the answer for us.
Well, your judgment as a farmer is always good. Then I suppose you won't be interested in this book that came out the other day?
If it's about tractors, no.
This is about Avery farm equipment. That's what you use, isn't it?
Yeah, that's different. Don't throw it away. I'll look at it later.
All right, I'll put it right here.
He'll find out all right. He'll have to learn the hard way, too.
What's that, John?
Nothing. I guess I'm getting old and just starting to talk to myself. Avery farm equipment. But say, this is about tractors. What's the big idea?
It's from Mr. Middleton, the man you always buy your Avery tools from.
From Bert? Since when do they put out a power outfit? I don't believe it. Why, there's an Avery planter that looks just like mine. No, you can't do it. It won't work. It can't be done.
Come on, finish your breakfast, Jack.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Look what's coming up the drive.
What is it?
Why, it's somebody with a tractor.
For heaven's sakes, it is the tractor. And that's Mr. Middleton.
I'm going out and see what he wants.
Yes, hurry up. I'll call your father.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, Mr. Middleton. What do you got there?
Well, this is the new Avery Tru-Draft outfit. Thought I'd bring it out and show you and your dad what it'll do for you.
Well, looks okay. Except if we ever get a tractor around here, it's got to be a bigger job than that.
Oh, you think so? Wait till you see what she'll do. Say, where's your dad? Tell him I got his card, and I'd like to put on a little demonstration for it.
His card? Did he send you a card? I'll go in the house and get him. Just a minute. Hey, Dad, Mr. Middleton's out here with a tractor. Says he got your card and came out to give you a demonstration. Are you holding out on me?
Card? What card? Who sent him a card?
Well, that doesn't matter. Go on outside. See what the outfit's like.
Say, young lady, what do you know about this?
And now stop asking questions. Go on out.
Did you send that dealer a card? Did you ask Bert Middleton to come out here with that tractor?
No, I didn't. Now go on.
Come on now, Mother. You fixed this up, didn't you?
Well, here's all I did. An announcement came from Mr. Middleton about a week ago, saying he now had this new outfit. I knew Jack was interested in tractors, so I sent back the postcard that was on the folder. Now, there certainly wasn't any harm in that. And then that booklet came through the mail, the one you looked at last night.
You shouldn't have misled him like that, Mother.
But I didn't ask him to come out here.
Well, maybe not. But no wonder he thought I was a good prospect. Well, he's gone and done it. Since he's brought it all the way out here, I guess I've got to go take a look at it.
Come on, Dad.
Okay. But I'm telling you right now, I'll have to hand it to you, Bert, for being on the job. Of course, I didn't send that card. Mother did. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not in the market for a tractor outfit.
If you can sell my old man a tractor, you deserve a gold medal.
Well, why, John? Why are you so dead set against power equipment?
I'm not dead set against it, Bert. I've just never seen a tractor yet that'll do the kind of work I'd be satisfied with.
Well, where do you think tractors fall down?
Well, I've never seen one that can do a job of planting that'll satisfy me. You know, Bert, there isn't much money in farming. I can't afford to replant and get a poor stand. That's one of the things that's the matter with farmers in this country today.
You're right, John. All a tractor can do is pull the equipment. And the kind of work you do depends on the equipment you can get for that tractor. And planting is the most important job in farming. But is that your only objection to power farming?
Well, take cultivating. I've really never seen a power outfit do a job of cultivating that'll suit me. You know, down here, cultivation has to be done just so.
Oh, yes, there's no doubt about that.
And then with one of these power outfits, you've got to buy the gas and oil to keep it going. With mules, why, you just raise your feet.
But, Dad, that same feed could be fed to something we could sell.
Well, John, don't tell me you haven't been thinking about a tractor. You put your finger right on the very things that are most important to every tractor buyer. But I see your fundamental objections, and I agree with you. And here's the reason why you're right. With your horse-drawn equipment, your tools are hitched at a single point, aren't they?
Yes.
And this point is in the true line of draft. Now, when you set that implement and start it going, it keeps going along in the natural line of penetration. All your team does is pull your implements. Both the team and the tools work independently of one another, with the result that any unevenness in the ground does not affect the operation of the tools. Now, with most tractor outfits, the implements are hitched up rigidly to the tractor, and the tools are not free. So when the wheels go over a hump, the tools go up too. They aren't free to follow their natural line of penetration. And without true draft, plowing can't be done as well or as cheap. Planting is bound to be uneven, and cultivating isn't nearly as good.
What? Do you mean to tell me that with this outfit, the implements are hooked up in the same way that we hitch them up to a team?
Exactly, John. There's a whole lot to this true draft principle. And I don't think I'll have to do much talking before you see why this Avery Tru-Draft outfit will do the kind of work you want.
But, Mr. Middleton, will an outfit the size of this one do the plowing on our farm?
Jack, this outfit will do every job you've got to do on this farm. Come on over here and take a look at it. You know, the first time I looked at this job, the thing that impressed me most was the way the Avery engineers went about designing it. They realized that when you buy a tractor, you buy it to do certain work, or your various farm operations. And the kind of work you get done depends entirely on the implements you can get as part of the outfit. They knew from the beginning that if they were going to make a power outfit that would do the job of work we've got to do down here, there could be no violation of true draft lines. John, it just makes common horse sense. It's a lot smarter to depend on natural draft lines to keep proper depth than to try to force implements to their proper depths with springs, rods, or other gadgets.
Well, I can see what you mean, Bert. When you stop to figure it out, that sounds like the right way.
Well, John, Avery engineers took the time and trouble to figure it out. And that's the way they went about designing this tractor. Now, instead of building a tractor first and then hooking implements on the best way they could, Avery built the implements first and set them up the way they would do the best work. Then they designed this tractor, the General, to fit them. Come here, I want to show you how it works out. Now look at this cultivator. You see how this long beam permits us to hitch in the true line of draft? Well, with a shorter beam, we couldn't do that. We'd have to try to hold the sweeps down with heavy springs. Now, try to push that gang sideways, John.
She's pretty rigid.
Absolutely. There's no chance for it to slide around sunflowers, cockleburrs, and other stiff weeds. Now, move it up and down. That's right. Just take hold of it. Hey, you see how free and easy she moves?
Say, that's all right.
Sure, if a cultivator's going to plow at an even depth, the gangs have to be free to do their work. Otherwise, they'll be forced in and out with the tractor.
And notice how the entire cultivator is in front of the operator. You can set your blades just where you want them. And being one unit, this outfit follows crooked or curved rows without plowing up your plant.
That makes sense.
Bert, you've sure got your story down pat.
I think it'll work just like Mr. Middleton says it will, Dad.
Well, seeing's believing. Let's take her out in the field and see what she'll do. Come on, John.
Yeah, come on, Dad.
All right, I look.
Dad, you can't tell me that isn't as good cultivating as any we've ever done on this farm.
Well, it is a good job. But don't you go getting all steamed up in front of Bert now.
John, sit up on this seat a minute. I want to show you something.
Oh, quit your kidding, Bert. I can't handle one of those things. I never drove a tractor in my life.
Well, just sit up here a minute anyway. I want to show you something. That's it. Now, John, take a look down in front of you. You can see every plant and every sweep, can't you?
Yep, you sure can.
Well, that isn't an accident. The Avery Company built this tractor outfit that way. Right from your natural position on the tractor, you can see everything you're doing.
Say, I thought you said the gangs weren't held in the ground by springs. What are these springs?
Oh, those aren't hold-down springs. Just take a hold of that gang and lift it up. Those springs are just to return the gangs quickly to the ground if they should strike some obstruction. You can see there's no tension on them.
How's it lift, Dad? Fellows tell me that they can't handle other tractor cultivators without a power lift.
Why, there's nothing to it. This one lifts as easy as can be.
Yes, and it works even easier yet when you're in motion. And don't overlook the fact that you can easily adjust your depth while in motion, anywhere across the field. The same thing applies to the other implements. It's hooking every one of them on the Tru-Draft line that makes them work so easily. John, go ahead. Plow around a little yourself.
Sure, Dad. Go on.
Oh, say, I don't know the first thing about handling one of these.
Well, come on, try it. It's your cotton. If you plow it up, it's your lawn.
I didn't do so bad for the first time, did I?
Why, you drive that just like an old hand at the game.
Well, tell me this, Bert. How do you get a planter on here?
Come on over under this tree. I'll show you some pictures that'll tell the whole story.
Okay. All right.
Now, here's a good picture of a planting outfit. It's pulled from a single point in the true line of draft, just like the cultivator and all the other tools. And it's out in front, where you can see what you're doing all the time. Each planter is complete, gauges its own depth, and works independently of the tractor. All the tractor does is pull it, and all the lever does is raise it. The planter maintains its own depth and does its work exactly like your Avery planter. John, it's one of the prettiest sights you've ever seen. To watch this outfit coming down the field, with the Avery planter following the ground, planting at even uniform depth, and not affected in any way by the up and down motion of the tractor. If it were fastened to the tractor in any other way, the planter couldn't maintain an even depth, and you wouldn't get a good job of planting.
Well, I will say that's one thing that never occurred to me before.
Well, that Avery planter looks okay. But how about lister planters?
Jack, planters and listers for all other sections of the South work in exactly the same way. Each one is hooked up in its true line of draft. In the Avery line of planters and listers are ones that plant on a bed, on a broken down bed, on level ground, and in the water furrow. Or you can sweep the bed and plant at the same time.
Say, what kind of a job of plowing will you do?
Here's a picture that shows as well as anything I can say just what kind of plowing it does. Now this shot shows a direct attached 16-inch moldboard plow. Next to it is a Red Lion 2-disc plow. Then this is our 3-foot one-way plow. And next to it, a 16-inch power lift drawn plow. This one is a 12-inch two-bottom power lift plow. And this last one shows the tractor pulling 2 Yellow Jacket middle breakers. And here's the same setup as a 2-row planting lister. You can put all these implements on the tractor or take them off easier than you can hitch up a team.
Now you're talking my language.
And here's something else that applies to all middle breakers and direct attached plows. The implement is rigid sideways, but free to move up and down. Now, to put the plow into the ground, for example, you simply lower the front end of this beam. The plow goes in point first, and the point sucks it in to the depth you've set it for. Now, to raise the plow, you just reverse the process. Raise the front end of the beam, and the plow runs out of the ground into the raised position. With this design, we can do a class of plowing that you can't do with any other direct attached plow.
Well, now, the best you can do is to pull two 12-inch plows. I think we need a bigger outfit than that.
Well, Jack, here's about the way it figures out. On a farm the size of yours, this Avery Tru-Draft outfit will do all your breaking in about 15 to 20 days. Now, suppose you do get a cultivating outfit big enough to pull a larger plow. It will still take you about 10 to 15 days, just about 5 days less. And the rest of the year, you're going to be buying gasoline to pull all that extra weight around on every other job you do. You know, John and Jack, while a tractor is easier to handle and you can do more work than you can in any other way with less drudgery, that still isn't enough to justify buying a tractor. Most people who have used tractors have found out that they reduce their costs of growing a crop 50% or more. That's the real reason why people buy tractors. Now, this Avery outfit is exactly the right size for doing your plowing, planting, and cultivating at the lowest cost. You know, it's always important when you buy a piece of machinery to be sure that it works as much time as possible at its maximum efficiency. We'll say you save 5 days on your plowing with a big tractor. But, boy, you're paying for that all the rest of the year.
How do you mean?
Why, on every other job around the farm, you've got a bigger investment than you should have. You're using too much gas and oil. You'll be hauling too much weight around. Jack, on some of the bigger outfits, it takes as much fuel to run them across the field empty as it does to have the general working. And when it comes to disking, harrowing, mowing, and working your other implements, you hook them right onto the drawbar. You can get it all done faster and more economically than you've ever done it before.
How much gas does this tractor use?
Oh, that depends on what you're doing and what kind of soil it is. But most people find that it costs just a little more than to keep one mule.
Can you do belt work with this job?
Oh, yes, Jack. You can get a belt pulley. Here's a picture of it. You can hook it up and use it for any kind of belt work, from pulling a hammer mill or filling your silo right down the line. Any belt job you want to do. You might be interested to know that Sam Watson over here is now using this outfit. And
What? Did he buy this tractor for his big farm?
He didn't buy one, he bought two. He knows all about tractors. He's been using them for years. Well, he could see that each one of these would do his cultivating and planting and other jobs as fast as any machine, regardless of size. And that two would do twice as much planting and cultivating and half again as much plowing. The two outfits cost him about the same as one big one, and the two actually use less fuel than the large one. John, this is the right size tractor for any farm. I don't care what size it is.
Well, maybe you're right, Bert. Maybe you're right. Mother, if you had told me, I wouldn't have believed it. If you had said that a tractor outfit will give me the same quality of work I'm getting done now and bring my costs down, well, I'd have said you can't do it.
I know, John. I've heard you say that once or twice before. Well, are you going to buy it?
I'm wondering. I've been doing some tall thinking, Mother. I am not quite as stubborn as you make me out. If Jack still wants it to start out with,
Say, Dad, is there any reason why we couldn't get one of those Avery outfits and use it on both farms?
Both farms, Dad.
Sure. Mine and Dad's.
your farm, son.
Why, sure. The one next door. The offer's still good, isn't it?
You bet it is.
My land. If you told me last night that all this was going to happen, I wouldn't have lost a good night's sleep. Oh, well, I wouldn't have believed it anyway.
Well, son, I think you've got something there. Something I've been thinking about for a long while.
Yeah? What?
For you and me to go into partnership on these two places. You've had a good education. I've had a lifetime of experience. It seems to me we ought to make a good combination.
Okay, Dad. Put her there.
All right, son. It's a deal. Of course, you're going to get this farm sometime anyway. You certainly should have some say-so in how it's run.
Well, I've got some ideas right now on what I'm going to do with my farm.
So soon? Say, you don't waste any time, do you?
Look, I'll show you what I mean. Here's the layout of my farm. Take this 20 acres over here.
Jack, before you two make too many plans, isn't there somebody else who should know something about all this?
Sure, Mr. Middleton, who's going to deliver that Avery outfit. But he doesn't know it yet.
No, I mean somebody else who might have to live on that farm.
Holy jumping Jehoshaphat. Betty. Say, does she know anything about this?
Well, what do you think? The last time she saw you, you were hot-footing it for the city.
Pardon me, folks. I've got some important business. I just happen to think that Betty might like to know that we're getting married, we're taking over the place next door, and we're going into partnership with old man Hendricks.
Well, I should think she would like to know it.
So long. I gotta get going.
Goodbye, Jack.
More power to you, son.
Well, it looks like I won't be donning Jack's socks much longer.
Mother, if it hadn't been for you, things would have been a lot different. More power to you, too.
And the same to you and Jack, now that